Today on Alpha Male Fan Fiction. I was in the key swing state of Georgia recently, working hard to re-elect President Trump. I extended my trip by a day because a business opportunity presented itself. So I scheduled the meeting at a prestigious country club that hosts a major golf tournament every year so I could hit the links for a quick round before the negotiations commenced. I was playing solo so I could lock in and go low before the meeting, and I was playing fast as usual. After the par 4 7th hole, I caught up to a group of young, fit, successful-looking black males who I overheard criticizing Kamala Harris in the fairway of the meaty par 5 8th hole. I waited for them to head up to the green and fired off a nuclear missile of drive. I've been working the ball both ways recently and hit a bomb draw 310 yards down the middle of the fairway. They must have recognized my ball flight because as soon as my ball made impact, they whipped their carts around and started cheering and chanting my name. We met in the fairway and they instantly dapped me up and introduced themselves. The tallest of the bunch, a bald man in fantastic physical shape, named Lamar, stood at least 6'9" and was sporting a navy blue Trump golf polo. I could tell from the size of his hands that he was an accomplished former professional athlete. Though not as tall, the rest of the group were still athletically impressive specimens. Their names were Tyrone, Devontae, and Maurice, and they were big fans of my work. They carried a copy of my NYT best-selling book, Alpha Kings, with them in their golf bags at all times. They invited me to make their foursome a fivesome, and I gave them a playing lesson. We breezed through the final 10 holes just in time for me to meet my prospective business partner. I was dripping with sweat as I rolled off the 18th green and spotted the bloke in question standing just outside the clubhouse with a beaming smile on his face. He called out to me and complimented my clutch birdie putt to close out the round, but that's when I noticed his attire. He was wearing a high-end custom Italian suit, but no tie. I was furious. I walked up and ripped him a new one. I chastised him for blatantly disrespecting me and sent him back to the locker room to fetch a tie, show me the respect I deserved, and meet me in the restaurant. He apologized and scurried off, so I headed into the restaurant and ordered a domestic beer and a nice lunch steak, 36-ounce porterhouse. A few minutes later, he reemerged sporting a gold silk tie. I looked him up and down and grumbled, "Much better, Harry," I said, taking a big bite of my juicy steak. "Much better. I'd like you to lengthen your tie. Then, and only then, we will talk money." He nodded his head and hurried off. I let out a deep sigh and went back to my steak. A moment later, he returned with his tie at an acceptable length, and I gestured for him to sit down. "All right, son," I said between bites of steak. "Not off to a good start, but I'm a forgiving man, so let's hear it. Wow me." He launched into a detailed presentation and made a strong case for why I should invest in his venture. I was impressed. I asked some hard-hitting questions, and he gave me all the right answers. "Harry, I'm intrigued," I told him. "Let's talk numbers. What do you want, and what can you offer me?" What came out of his mouth next shocked me. His opening offer was exactly what I was looking for. I leaned back in my chair, sipped my ice-cold domestic beer, and looked him dead in the eye. "This is a great offer, son. Money-wise, it makes sense. But I can't do business with someone who doesn't give me the respect I deserve," I said. "You have a bright future ahead of you, but you have a lot to learn. Come back to me in a few years with a better deal, and I'll give you a second chance." He was gobsmacked. I snapped my fingers at the waiter and told him my steak was on Harry. I stood up and left. Alpha males never tolerate disrespect. Ever.